Unfortunately, there is a new round of demolition going on in Lagos. And I'm sure the question that is on your mind is, why does the government always have to wait for people to finish building their houses before they demolish? This important question and 6 other questions I'll be answering in this video so that you can save yourself from any future investment issues. One of the other questions that I'll be answering is, who is at fault? Is it the homeowners or the government? Another question is, which areas should you avoid building in? Another question is, why are developers building in these areas? An issue that we will look at is how new estates try to cheat you without you knowing. Then another question is, who should you go to first before you buy or build a house? And finally, the last question is, where can you access information that would keep your investment safe? Before I dive right into the video, my name is Dr. Yemi Walls, and I've been a practicing architect for the past 6 years. And I share on this channel videos that help my clients or people like you avoid bad investments and everything architecture related. So before I dive right into the video, let me play one video for you to watch how this demolition is taking place and which area this demolition is taking place.
The Lagos State government has marked about 38 houses around Mega Mall Ikota for demolition. Now, this is the report from TVC.
And here in Lagos, the state government has marked 38 housing units in Ikota, a high-end neighborhood in Lekki, for demolition. During an inspection tour across the area, Commissioner for the Environment, Tokunbo Wahab, said the buildings were constructed on the right-of-way of the Ikota River.
Now, just take a look at what these developers were doing in Ikota. Take a look at it. Look at where they were building on. They were building on the water, on the riverside. Sand filling it and building on it. They don't care. It's all about money for them. And they've sold these houses to residents and to people, to families, who their houses now have been marked for demolition. And these developers, they know exactly what they are doing. Look at this other one. Take a look at this other one. Just imagine what Lagos State developers are building in Lagos State. And these developers, they know exactly what they are doing. They've seen the survey. They know the water side, where they are not supposed to encroach. But it's all about money for them. And to you that are buying houses, you better be careful. Any property they tell you, water side property, it's not water side, it's a demolition side.
He said there are 38 houses that have been marked. And you saw the way some of these houses were built close to the waterway. So the reason why these particular houses are being demolished is because they were built on reclaimed land. Now the thing is it wrong to reclaim land? Absolutely not. But who is reclaiming the land? Only the government have the right to reclaim land. And only the government can approve areas where they can reclaim the land. And so you might be asking, so how did they get approval to build in this area? Now, from my experience as an architect, I know for a fact that these people did not get approval in the right way. Because if you are to get approval in Lagos State, you are not going to be getting approval from one body or from one agency. Neither are you getting approval from 2 agencies or 3 agencies. There are a lot of people that need to look at what you are doing and approve before you start. And this takes a lot of money. So let me give you an instance. This particular building that I showed up here is 4 units of 4-bedroom terraces that I'm building this year. And the thing is that I've been mentioning this on my channel for a while, and I'm sure some of my viewers will be like, when are you going to start building this thing that you're saying that you're going to build? And the thing is that approval takes time, and it also costs money. And so currently we've spent over 3.5 million naira on the approval, and we're not done because we still need to pay tax before we can build. And this tax, the government is not saying that you should pay tax, based on what you're earning. There is a fixed amount of money that they expect you to pay. And this is going to add extra millions of naira to this kind of thing. And so for some people, they don't want to go down the right path of paying money and having to wait for the right authorities to go through your drawings, come to your site, look at everything and say, okay, you can build. So how then do these people build these things here? It's simple. You see, when you are building, the government, the Lagos State Building Control Agency, they expect you to write to them, inviting them to your site so that they can come and inspect. If you do not write to them, they can tell you later in future that you did not inform us. And I'm sure you might be thinking, why do we need to inform the government? It's because of things like this, so that they can absolve themselves of blame and say, you did not inform us that you were building here. If you had done it the right way, we could have told you, don't do this. That's one. Two, if you had done the approval the right way, you would not even get to the point where you need to be building and then they'll come and say, oh, this is the wrong place, because they would have told you during the approval that, oh, you cannot build in this area. But you see, the problem is most Nigerians, and I'm saying this with personal experience because I have a lot of people who have reached out to me through this channel to say, I want to build, I want to buy a property, and I need to know, is this the right place? And by the time I tell them that, oh, this is the fee that the surveyor is going to use to help you to confirm if you can build in this area, they will say it's expensive. Have you tried the cost of ignorance, which is most likely what these people that their houses have been marked for demolition are facing right now? How expensive it is for them to be losing such, investment. And the fee that the surveyor is asking for is 100,000 naira to go and do the search to confirm, can you build in this area? Was this area a reclaimed land? Who gave them the authority to reclaim this land? People don't want to pay that. Lawyers' fee to help you to confirm the title of the land, the title document, another 100,000. People say it's expensive. So let's say you do these two searches for 200,000 naira. Isn't it better and cheaper for you to spend 200,000 naira compared to you losing millions of your investment because you feel like 200,000 is too expensive for you to confirm? And a lot of people have reached out to me and not gone ahead with this, check because of this fee. And this fee is not even my own fee. It's not my money. I'm letting you know what people that help me do these things are charging. So if people are willing to spend little amounts of money to ensure that they do things the right way, we would have none of this issue. And so who is to blame? Is it the government? Is it the people? Well, the answer for me is a two-way thing. I'm going to put 70% of the blame on the people, because if you are investing huge amount of money, there's nothing stopping you from doing due diligence, and 30% on the government, because the government, coming to demolish the house now, how did they know that these people have built on this area? It means that they are going around. So instead of you to say you want people to write to you before you come, which that's not how it works, because wherever you're building in Lagos, the government will know, because they have people that they call whistleblowers. If you're a whistleblower, the government will give you money for saying, oh, someone is building in this area, so that the government can come and check whether they're building rightly or not. And so that clause that they put in the building control saying that, you need to write to them to invite them, does not always have to be the case. And so 30% blame goes to the government. Because at the end of the day, everybody knows that Lagos State is a state that, thrives on IGR, internal generated revenue. So the government is looking for every way to make money. So there are people that if they know that you have the money and you cannot wait for approval, they say, okay, pay this money and we'll close our eyes. So it's not as if you are getting the right approval. They're just taking their eyes away. That's what people are paying for. And so when people are asking, how did they get approval? How are these things being built? People are looking away. They are paying them to look away. So I've told you who is at fault. 70% to the homeowners, 30% to the government. And I'm going to give you a scenario. So a client came over from the US because he wants to go into real estate investment. And we had a meeting at a hotel yesterday. He was there with two other persons that he invited for the meeting so that we could all contribute ideas. And we're talking about areas where he should build, what kind of buildings he should build, what kind of contractors he should use when he's ready to build. And at the end of, this conversation, he was armed with, okay, now I have this volume of information. I'm going to process what the right steps for me to take is. And he paid for the consultation. But you see, the problem is that a lot of Nigerians want things free. How can I get this thing very cheap? And now that he has that information, he knows where to avoid, what he should do first before he even starts, going into the investment. So one of the things that we're going to do for him is, before he even acquires the land, we are going to confirm this land that you want to build. Is the government aware that this is an area where somebody wants to build? Is it an area where we have approved you to build? Because it's not just only about can you build in this area. In the Nigerian building code, you cannot build above certain number of stories in certain areas. And I'll give you an example. Most people buying land in Ibejuleki are not aware of this, and I'm going to create another video about this particular area. So if you want to know more about this, then do make sure to subscribe and turn on the post notification so that by the time I drop the video about building in Ibejuleki, you'll be informed. So Ibejuleki is a new development site in Lagos, and the thing is that because it's a new development site, the government wants to build an airport in that area, and there are restrictions to the height that your building can go and number of floors you can go in an area close to the airport, and Ibejuleki happens to be one of those areas. And so some clients buy properties thinking, I want to build 3 floors up, and the building code says no, in Ibejuleki you cannot build 3 floors up. You can only have 2 floors, ground floor, first floor, and then the 10th floor. The 10th floor is 30% of the square area of the floor beneath. So some people don't have that information, and they want to start building without approval. And because they're building without approval, there's no government agency that is coming, to tell them, oh, we are not going to approve this. And so by the time they start building, if anybody comes, they can just give the person money, and then they're sorted and close of eyes. But when the government now comes and says that they want to demolish, it's now a problem. So before I continue, this video is going to be very long if I have to start breaking down the series of reasons why houses are demolished, because I've created multiple videos here on my channel. So you could go through my channel to watch those videos, or you could click on the link, the first link in the description, or scan this code if you're interested in knowing what the government is saying to get access to the document. I created a document called the review that breaks down all the reasons why your building can be demolished, and examples of government standard buildings that would pass approval, so that if you want to build, this is what is attainable. If you have access to this document, you cannot fall victim of any house demolition or building wrongly. So if you want that for yourself, click the first link in the description, or scan this code if you're watching on TV. Reach out to me so that I could send you the link of where you can purchase this guide. Now let's move on to the next question. Which area should you avoid building? One area you should avoid building is any area where you see that it's close to the to a body of water, because number one, there is building regulation as to the distance your building should be away from a water body. And if you don't have access to this guide, you wouldn't know. And the problem is that in Nigeria, there are so many people who are in business, or who are selling a service, or who want to make money off you, and they don't tell you the truth, because if they tell you the truth, then you are not going to buy from them, because you need to pause and think about your decision. But I'm an architect. If you buy bad land, it does not stop me from designing on that bad land for you. I'll still make my money. But the thing is that I want to avoid you wasting your money on such investment. But for real estate agents, if they don't sell land, if they don't sell properties, where are they going to make their money from? So that's why you need to be careful of the people who help you to transact business. Now, you should also avoid areas where it's close to the water, because they might have sand filled these areas. And if they sand filled without the permission of the government, then that's a problem. And that's what is happening right now, because Ikota, the reason why it's being demolished is because developers built on the waterways, and they built on the waterways because they sand filled in that area. And the next question is, why are developers sand filling in this area? Why are they building here? It's simple, because people are demanding to live in these areas. And the problem is, if you know the information that I'm giving to you, you will not even demand to live in these areas, because you would have understood that probably they've maxed out the available lands in these areas, and so now developers are reclaiming land to be able to sell more to people. Once you have that information, you should look elsewhere that you can build, that you can buy a property. If you need to live in Ikota or areas where they've sand filled, just rent for the time being, for whatsoever reason that you're getting a property. It might be because you want to be close to work or something. Just rent the property there and build your house somewhere far. And somewhere that you can build is Fountain Springville Estate, and that is somewhere in Songotedo. which might be far for some people. But if you're above the age of 50 and you're turning towards retirement, then you should check out Springville Fountain Estate, because it is one of the safe estates that you can invest in Lagos. And I created a video here reviewing a house for one of my clients who wants to sell the property, and it's a property that I've checked. It was built to approval standard. All the setbacks were observed, and so it's not something that you buy the property and there will be an issue. So if you're in the market looking for a new house that you can renovate, or that you don't mind the way the house looks like, you can just check out this video and let me know what you think about the house, and we can proceed on that. So now that you know why developers are sand filling in these areas where they are not meant to, which is because of demand, you know what to do with that information. The next is, let's address the issue of how estates try to cheat you. So for people who are buying lands in new development areas where you have an estate and then they say, oh, they're selling lands, and you are buying 300 meter square land, 600 meter square land, and all of that. The truth of the matter is that these people do not tell you what you can build on these sizes of lands, and they just sell because they want to make money. So an example is, I have multiple clients who have reached out to me who want to build in Lekki, and the thing is that by the time they showed me their survey plan, because I always request for a survey plan before I can design, because that's going to tell me the limitations that we have on the site. And so when they sent me the survey plan, I saw that it was a corner piece. If you don't know what a corner piece is a land which is bound by two roads, adjacent roads, so a road in front and a road on the side. What this does is it limits the amount of space that you can build on, because you need to observe 6 meter setbacks by their boundary road. And so for people who want to build and don't have an understanding of what corner piece is and what setback is and what the building regulation is, they might buy this land and then they see that they cannot build what they want to build. But I was able to inform my clients, and they were able to change this land to get one that is not corner piece, so that I could give them what they desire. And so something that these estates do is that they will tell you that corner piece is more expensive, and so you might think that you're buying a premium something. I don't know the idea behind it, because people now see that, oh, they cannot build what they want on a 300 meter square corner piece. In fact, I feel it is very wrong for you to sell corner piece of the same size as other plots of land, because the person who buys the corner piece is at disadvantage, because they are losing buildable areas due to setbacks. Another way that these estates can cheat you is that they will not tell you that there is a building code that they're abiding by, and they just say, oh, you can build anything that you want to build. And by the time you buy into the estate, they tell you, oh, you cannot build this, you cannot go 3 floors high, you cannot build this wide, you cannot put a swimming pool, you cannot put this thing in your compound. You need to be able to ask those questions before you buy these properties. You need to be able to have an agreement that, okay, I'm buying this property because you have said this, so that you can have it in written agreement, so that you would not be in any issue with the estate. Another thing that they don't tell you is that because they are just developing the estate, there are developmental charges, infrastructure charges that do not come with the land. So by the time you buy the land, they might send you a letter maybe 6 months down the line that we are developing the estate, we are creating roads, so this is the fee that you're going to pay for each plot. So if you buy like 6 plots, they will charge you times 6 per plot. And sometimes these charges can range as high as 2 million naira, 3 million naira per plot. So that's infrastructure charges. And then they will now still charge you for service charge even before you start living in there. So these are questions that you need to ask before you buy properties. And that's why I like the fact that my clients that reached out to me, that we had a meeting in a hotel, he came over to Nigeria and we've had a meeting so that he understands these are the things that I need to do, I need to look out for. I need, I can buy here, I should not buy here. You need to be able to give yourself the opportunity to be safe, to have your investment safe. Now, another question I'll be looking at is, who should you go to first before you buy or build a house? I would say you should go to an architect first. Now, some people will say go to a surveyor, but you see, the way Nigeria is right now, only your architect can tell you what you can build on the land, because the architect has the experience with design. A surveyor is just to make sure that he surveys the land, and then this is the boundary of your land, and it can also help you check if the land, is in an area where you can build. But if it's for you to know, oh, should I buy this land because I want to build a 5-bedroom duplex, the architect will tell you this land is too small to build according to approval standard. And I always build and design to approval standard. And that's why this design that is over here, which I'll be building this year, 4 units of 4-bedroom terraces, is to approval standard. And so I'm letting you know now so that in case you're interested, you can start showing interest right now. You can reach out to me and we can lock you in before we start building, so that we know that you are a potential buyer and we'll keep you in mind. And it's just 30 minutes away from Ikeja. It's in New Okoba. So if you cannot live in areas where people have occupied because it's already full and you cannot stand still in that area, then live somewhere close by. If you are less than 30 minutes to the airport, that is fair. That is better than staying in Ikota that you are hours away from the airport and you're most likely buying a land that has been sanctioned that would eventually lead to demolition. And so reach out to an architect, ask the architect, what can I build here? What can I not build here? So that you can be guided before you purchase the land. And if you've purchased the land from an estate, the architect can guide you and say, okay, since you bought it from an estate, they might be able to change the land for you, just like they've done for multiple of my clients. Now, the final question is, where can you access information that will help safeguard your investment? You can just search Google for Lagos State Building Code, Lagos State Building Control Agency Guide, and you will find it. But what you will not find in there are examples. What you will not find in there are numbers of people that you can call to help you to confirm the areas where you can build and areas where you should not build. And that is why I created the reveal that will give you examples, access to the information that you need, with examples that show you, okay, this is what 3 meter setback looks like, this is what 1.5 meter setback looks like, this is how far you are meant to build away from high tension, away from water body. All that information is in the reveal. And so if you've enjoyed this video so far, please make sure you hit the like button so that more people can know about this video, to be aware of what they should avoid when looking to buy land or buy a property. And also turn on the post notification so that when I post my future videos, you would be aware. And lastly, if you're in need of an architect who builds and designs within the guidelines of the building code and the law, you can reach out to me by clicking one of the links in the description that will bring you directly to my WhatsApp, and we can have a chat about your project. But before you do that, I want you to know that my services start at a minimum fee of 1.2 million naira for just consultation and design. That's the minimum fee. But it depends on what you want to design or build. It can go as high as 6 million naira. And so if this is a price range that is favorable to you and you understand the value that I'll be providing to you, you can go ahead and click the link below, and let's work together on getting you an investment that would make you safe and make you happy. So I'll see you in the next video.